My brothers and sisters in Christ, today's first reading is one of the most important passages in Scriptures to understand the true nature of idolatry. At surface value, it can seem like something that's not very applicable. We hear this tale of the making of the golden calf that the people of Israel worship. Of course, we understand that this is something offensive to God, or can't have false idols, false gods. But most of us aren't literally persuaded or have never conceived of making a golden statue to give all of our worship to. That's for the most part that was a pagan conception, not the way that we are tempted. However, the embodiment of what led to the construction of the statue is something that is very much with us, and that's what's important to unpack. And so this story, the making of the golden calf by Aaron, happens while Moses is up on the mountain receiving the law. And we've just heard in the last few days the giving of the 10 Commandments. And so after being saved from the Egyptians, passing through the Red Sea, then being given the manna from heaven, now they are at the foot of the mountain. There are peals of thunder and lightning. They hear God speaking in magnificent ways with Moses. And so God is revealing himself at every turn. And Moses goes up the mountain and they're asked to remain there in prayer. But Moses is up on the mountain for quite a long time. And so we hear that the people down there grow anxious. They don't know what's happened to Moses. Now we don't know, maybe God wasn't with us. Did we make it up? Aaron, we need a God to worship. And this image of the bull, of the ox, if you will, that's created by gold, is an emblem that came from Egyptians' cult of worship. And so this was a symbol of a deity that was known to them from Egypt. So it's not just a random object or idol that was chosen. They returned to something known to them. And this is what is offensive in the sight of God. They are so quick to abandon relationship with the God that isn't just hypothetical to them, but is revealed in powerful ways. And yet, they quickly, the moment there's a hint of concern, of worry, of fear in their lives, they go back to their old gods. The relevance of this to us, of what true idol worship looks like, is our tendency, at the first sign of trouble, to go back to our old gods. What do I mean by old gods? Those things that medicate us, those things in our fear. For some, perhaps it may be found in a bottle. For others, perhaps it may be found on a pornographic website. Perhaps it may be found in the sexual embrace of someone not their spouse. Perhaps it may be found in shopping, in gambling, any number of things. This message isn't about any one particular sin, but it is about the fact that there are things with which we can medicate ourselves against anxiety in this life, places where we find our comfort when in doubt. These are the ways that have led us into darker places that God seeks to rescue us from, to literally lead us in our baptism through the Red Sea, away from places of lifelessness, to true worship on his mountain. But the temptation is there to abandon him, to go back to old gods. This is what idol worship looks like for us. The temptation to flee. The temptation to medicate, to do anything but to turn to the one true source of our strength, and that is to go deeper in our relationship with the Lord, the only one who supplies and meets every need. And so regardless of what the idol is, and sometimes the idol may be of our own face. We can worship ourselves. But regardless of the idol, the temptation will always be there to turn back to old gods, to that which is more familiar. And that in of itself speaks of a problem. Are our old gods still more familiar to us than the Lord our God? What am I doing to familiarize myself, to see that God is not something other, but God is someone so close to me at all times? If I truly cultivate a life of prayer and relationship with him, then it will come to a point where I could never turn and leave. It would be as if cutting off my own hand. It is very important that we abandon our false gods, not just claim a new God, but truly abandon our false gods and worship him alone, for he is the only one that can satisfy our every need. May God bless us all.